As everyone knows, the GOAT Togashi finished the first batch, 10 chapters from 410 to 420. They've been handed over to Shonen Jump and are expected to start dropping anytime now. Not just that, but he's already finished the backgrounds and dialogue up to chapter 426. These chapters have been handed to his assistants. This clearly means the next batch will be 20 chapters instead of the usual 10. And as usual, after any manga hiatus, we forget the plot, the characters, and where the hell we even were. That's why I decided to make this video, to be our permanent reference. If we forget anything or come back after a break, we won't have to reread all the 52 chapters from the start of the war until now. Honestly, this video was a grind, and as you can see, the channel is still new, so your support really matters and helps me a lot. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's dive into one of the best and most complex arcs Togashi has ever written. This video isn't a replacement for the manga, it's for those who've already read it but forgot the events and the timeline. One of the most intense days on the ship, our black whale leaves the port announcing the start of the journey to the Dark Continent and the start of the Succession War. The royal family and all the nobles attend the first dinner banquet, which happens once a week. Just 15 minutes later, the action kicks off early, Silent Majority starts its work, and we see Woody dead in the bathroom, sucked dry of blood. A bit later, when the queen returns from the party, they're all shocked to find 4 more guards dead. So about 5 of Prince Woble's guards died in the first half hour of the war. Kurapika sees the Nen beasts, and right there he decides to go wild and makes a move that changes the whole shape of the war, announcing the existence of Nen to everyone on the first tier. At 2 p.m. after that confrontation, Woble's guards are down from 11 to just 2, plus 2 maids of course. At the same time, the 7th queen, that bitch Savant, she moved most of her daughter's Mimosi guards to protect her son Mariam because he's young and needs to feel safe. And what about her daughter Momose? Nah, fuck her, who cares? At the same time, Tserednish started learning Nen under Theta's supervision. Leaving Tserednish for a bit, we go to Benjamin, who sent his private soldiers to guard all the other princes and spy on them, using his power as the first prince and the most influential one. His soldier Vincent goes to room 14 and kills Sandra immediately. Kurapika and Bill deal with him right away, but before Kurapika can use his chain to get info out of him, Vincent swallows a suicide pill. Minutes later, Vincent's replacement, Babamina, arrives and waits outside room 14. But while Babamina is outside, Kurapika is shocked by 3 simultaneous calls from the first, 3rd, and 5th princes. Yup, my boy is the center of the war like I explained in this video. Go check it out after you finish this one. After a lot of tension, Kurapika chooses to answer the 1st prince, but the maid chooses the 3rd prince for him. 15 minutes later, Kurapika meets the 3rd prince in his room, and the meeting ends with an alliance. John Lei temporarily assigns 2 guards, Sakata and Hashito, to help Kurapika and protect Wobble. Kurapika decided to present the Nen topic to Sakata, Hashito, Slacker, Mayor, and Babamina through a very clever move. He had Bill pretend he was controlling Oito's beetle, while in reality Oito was the one controlling it. After that, Kurapika sat with the new guards and told them his plan. He'd give every prince a chance to join Nen lessons for 2 weeks. Whoever wants to join, joins. Meanwhile, Queen Oito was using the beetle to spy. She headed toward room 12 and saw in 4K Princess Mimosi being murdered. With all the exhaustion and stress, Kurapika collapsed unconscious, and that's how day 1 of the war ended. 6 a.m. Kurapika wakes up and is shocked to find Emperor Time is still active, meaning he already lost 5 years of his life. 9 a.m. Kurapika gives his first Nen lesson. During the lesson, the Silent Majority user moves for the 2nd time, controlling the maid Lowberry to distract everyone from the stakes, killing Berrigan. Lowberry is detained, and room 10 is put under surveillance for 3 days. 10 a.m. the Nen lesson resumes. At the same time, in the lower tiers, the spiders start moving. Finks, Franklin, Phaeton, and Nobunaga beat up 3 guys from the Boar family and use them to get info on the Mafia and making them look for anyone who matches Hisoka's height. A bit later, Hanzo summons his double and makes Taffy confess to killing Mimosi, then kills him with peak intelligence. But when he returns to room 13 to his original body, he's shocked to find it completely empty. Nobody is there except Mariam's guardian spirit beast standing there. Hanzo decides to go to room 14 to ask Kurapika for help, and suddenly, room 14 gets a call from 13. Here, Kurapika and Hanzo realize it's bigger than just a disappearance. Room 13 was moved by Nen power. At night, the 1st prince's guard Mosa is surprised by Princess Camilla coming right to him. He kills her, but her Nen beast kills him and brings her back to life. She storms the place and shoots the 1st prince, but it's useless and she gets arrested, and that's the end of our 2nd day. 1:27 a.m. We discovered the power of the 11th princess's beast, Fugetsu's guardian spirit beast, appears as a door she can travel through, and she ends up in the bed of her close sister, Kacho. 9 a.m. Kurapika starts his 2nd lecture, which we'll get to in a bit because, as usual, it's full of action. While the lecture is on, John Lei discovers for the first time the coins produced by his guardian spirit beast while having breakfast, but he still doesn't understand anything. A bit later, the Night's Prince finally enters the picture. He and his men stand for a minute of silence for Mimose, but it's not just about respect. That silence released a massive amount of aura, so much that the people in room 1 felt it. Then Hulkenberg decided to pay his first visit to his father. He went with a clear message. demanding an end to the war. At the same time, Camilla and Benjamin go to court because of Musa and Camilla's attack on Benjamin. Both are held in the VVIP area until they find Musa and settle the story. Back to Kurapika's lectures. Silent majority moves again, and this time it kills Mayohan while everyone stands helpless as usual. On the other side, Serednich does the water divination test, and the result? He's a specialist. Absolute madness and terror. Tacho gives Melody a device to communicate in secret because they noticed something wrong happening around them, and so it ends the third day, which was relatively light. Day 4 was a bit heavy in the lower tiers away from the royal life. Before sunrise, Fugetsu started trying to understand her guardian beast's abilities. Meanwhile, Kacho arranged with Melody to play at the Sunday banquet, and after Melody's performance, she and Fugetsu would go up and perform together. Away from the royal vibes down with the Phantom Troop, everyone was gathering to exchange info before splitting up based on the request of the Cha Mafia family. Crollo made a smart plan. He had Bunalenov disguise himself as Hisoka and get spotted by the Mafia. The idea is that when the Mafia discovers him, they'll keep the spiders away from their territory, letting the troops search for the real Hisoka freely, while the Mafia thinks they'll never find him anyway. At the same time, the head of Cha, Broccoli, talked to the head of Shiyu, Onion, about the spiders, and both ordered their underbosses to find Hisoka. But the real chaos wasn't here. It was coming from a completely different side. The greatest and most dangerous evil on the ship, Morena, the leader of Hildy, transferred her contagion ability to 22 of her followers. This ability lets them gain Nen every time they kill people. Pure insanity. Morena alone needs a whole video to do her justice. On another side, Nobunaga, Vinx, and Phaeton went down to tier 5 to get their weapons back from storage, but Luini beat them to it and killed the storage guards to provoke them and start a fight between them and Cha because he wanted to reach a secret door in their hideout. But Nobunaga, Vinx, and Phaeton met the underboss of Cha, and in the end, the spiders agreed to join Cha's patrol and kill Luini in exchange for seeing what was behind the door Luini was interested in, and they did. The Kaken army starts combing all the lower tiers looking for a dangerous person hiding. During the search, Illumi and Kalidor were exposed in tier 3, but they managed to slip away when they found Princess Fugetsu herself on that tier instead of the first, so they left the search to go interrogate her. One of the poorest days, it starts with Mizai taking Fugetsu from the main police station on the 3rd tier and bringing her to room 11. After that, Melody does a trial performance for Seiko and Kaiser. Seiko loves it so much he decides she'll give the full performance during the banquet, broadcasted across the 1st tier via speakers. By 4 p.m., the surveillance imposed by the Supreme Court on room 10 officially ends. By 8 p.m., an official announcement says the dangerous intruder the army was looking for has finally been caught. Even though Day 6 has an event that completely changes the course of the war, it's the shortest day. Look, I can summarize it in 30 seconds. In the morning, Hulkenberg loses it and storms his father's room, trying to negotiate an end to the war again. When he fails, he tries to kill his dad. When that fails, he tries to kill himself, but fails a 3rd time as his Nen beast awakens for the 1st time and protects him. Here, Hulkenberg starts bulking up and intends to win the war at any cost. He tries his Nen ability for the 1st time on Shikako. His guard Sumidori takes over Shikako's body, while Sumidori's own body falls into a sleep state. This move caused a massive release of aura in Tier 1. A 2nd time this happened since Day 3. Oh, and at night, thank God Sally died and we're done with his bullshit. Down to the lower tiers again. 10:30 p.m. The underboss of the Tagao gang from the Cha group enters the gang's hideout through the same door Luini wanted to reach before. The spiders offer him a win-win deal. They're ready to kill Morena, but in exchange he helps them get permission to look for Hisakamaru on the 4th tier. Back up with Hulkenberg, who's thinking about different possibilities for his Nen mechanics and starts testing it practically to understand it more. While this is happening, Serednich's guards are trying to clean up a terrifying amount of blood and guts filling his room. Later in a call with an unknown person, it's confirmed that Morena isn't in her VIP room on the 1st tier, so he issues orders to his soldiers in the lower tiers to search her hideout. Yep, Morena died and was replaced by the Morena we know now. The weird thing is that Serednich, without realizing it, summons a Nen beast that looks like a clown or a possessed doll. Absolute nightmare. Theta actually starts training him on Zetsu. One of the craziest days, witnessing the first attempt to escape the war and the awakening of the 4th prince. 1935, Ada asks Serednich to try and maintain Zetsu for a full hour, even with distractions around him. About half an hour later, the banquet officially begins on the ship. 2059. Now things get real. Melody's performance starts meant to be broadcast via speakers in tiers 1 and 2. At almost the same time in a parallel timeline, Theta shoots Serednich. Melody's music makes everyone who hears it see a vision of a beautiful landscape, like a dream. Seconds later, Serednich is behind her, and of course we all know what happened there, no explanation needed. At the same time, Kini takes Kacho and Fugetsu to the lifeboats. To keep suspicion off them, if they get caught, Kini decides to shoot himself after getting them to the boats. Respect to that man. Before the lifeboat leaves the Black Whale, they are attacked because of the conditions of the seed urn ceremony, which state that anyone who leaves the ship will die. Princess Kacho saves her sister's life by pushing her back inside the door, but she herself couldn't get back in and died in the lifeboat, and her guardian Nen Beast took her form to protect her sister. Honestly, the saddest ending since the start of the war. Theta regains consciousness, but notices something terrifying. The wound on her cheek became like an infection spreading across the left half of her face as a warning from the fourth Prince's Beast not to try lying to the prince again. From here on, for the remaining 4 days, the events get insane and the days are packed. I'll start telling details so we can remember the recent events together, so focus with me because what's coming is on another level. Kaiser puts Melody under guard after accusing her of helping Kacho and Fugetsu escape, but in reality he's doing this to protect her from the other princes. He also tells her that Kacho and Fugetsu are currently at the justice office on the second tier being interrogated. Suddenly, Shikako commits suicide in front of room 7, and the noise that was causing trouble stops completely after that. Almost at the same moment, Sumadori wakes up. Yes, Hulkenberg is exploring his new power. At 10 a.m., Kangado returns and reports to Benjamin and Balsamilko everything that happened in Shikako's death incident. He also confirms that the strong aura noticed belonged to Hulkenberg. Balsamilko sends him back, but this time with clear instructions. Monitor the behavior of those in room 7 precisely. Around 11:30 a.m., some people felt Hulkenberg's aura for the 4th time, and this time it was coming from room 14. At an unknown time later, Kurapika asked Longi to enter the master bedroom in room 14 to awaken her now. The surprise was that Longi used an ability called Moonlight Act, and here one of the biggest plot twists in the whole war is revealed. Longi revealed that beyond Nitaro is her biological father. Not just that, Yan had a much more complex and dangerous plan. He fathered many children and had them hide among the bodyguards, then turned them into something like cursed sacrifices with different powers. Longi believes the reason is simple. One of Beyond's children is among the 14 princes, and Beyond intends to use the stronger sacrifices to get rid of the rest of the princes. Then, Longi started explaining the details of the truce between Taibepa and Wobble. Basically, the agreement says if Wobble's team attacks Taibepa's team, they'll be punished with a full week of forced setsu. Longi added a special condition for Kurapika. He must discover which of the princes is Beyond's child. The deadline is before Taibepa withdraws from the war, or before only 2 princes remain, and if Kurapika can identify that prince, Longi asked for only one thing. She gets to kill Beyond herself. Kurapika finally agreed to the truce and Longi's conditions. By the end of the lessons, Kurapika had already awakened Nen and all his students. The longest day since the war started. 6 a.m. Kacho shows Melody a strange mark on Fugetsu's back. Both suspect someone might have drugged or poisoned her in a way that made her think she can use the magical worm ability more than once a day. Suspicion starts heading toward Lazarus or his guardian, Nen Beast. Then Kacho, Melody, and Kaiser set a plan. Have Fugetsu visit the rooms of the other princes, so Kacho can link the rooms with her ability whenever she needs to. To do this, Kacho writes a letter as if it's her last message to each prince. These letters also contain sensitive info gathered by the Ministry of Justice about each prince to sow doubt among them and mess things up even more. A bit later, Kaiser with a group of IPA members and soldiers accompanies Fugetsu as she distributes the letters to the princes on Tier 1. The letters reached almost all the princes except Saridnish, who refused to take it, Hulkenberg because he was sick, and Mariam, who also refused. At the same time, Kurapika receives a personal letter from Melody. Around 6:45 p.m., Balsamilko goes to the entrance of the prosecution and court building of the Ministry of Justice. Inside the building, Vict keeps him busy and distracts him. This was intentional because at that moment, Hulkenberg takes the opportunity and uses his ability on him from around the corner with the help of a group of his followers. And the result, Hulkenberg succeeds in taking over Balsamilko's body. A bit later, Kaiser and Fugetsu go to Benjamin and hand him Kacho's letter. The letter reveals that Unma is Hulkenberg's mother, and Kacho also asks Benjamin to help protect Fugetsu. Benjamin pretends the letter is normal, but at the same time he notices the weak spirits around Fugetsu and expects she might not live more than a week. Kurapika then goes to meet Jiang Lei to help him understand his Nen Beast's coins. Through their talk, Kurapika reaches a theory. These coins might store Nen, and their value increases tenfold every 10 days. But Kurapika keeps a major suspicion to himself. These coins might also allow Jiang Lei to exercise near compulsory control over the people who take them. Later in the day, Hulkenberg, currently inhabiting Balsamilko's body, injects his real body with a drug called TSK-17 to avoid Benjamin's suspicions. Then Hulkenberg's real body is quickly moved to the hospital on Tier 3, where doctors including Cheadle and Leorio examine him. While all this is happening, Balsamilko, who is Hulkenberg, calls Benjamin and tells him everything is under control and the results will show before the end of the night. The last day of the war, until where we stopped. In the early hours of the day, about 12 hours after giving TSK-17 to Hulkenberg's body, Balsamilko, controlled by Hulkenberg, takes a sedative that lasts about 10 hours. A short while later, Hulkenberg's real body dies. 9 a.m., Kurapika starts his Nen lesson. At the same time, Botulinov meets Hisoka in the casino. Immediately after, he drops the Hisoka disguise and switches to a new one. Hinrai at this time confirms that the Hylie members are moving using a trap and reports this info to Kenny and the rest of the Brizen group. Nobunaga and Hinrai decide to make a bold move, enter the trap themselves to see where it takes them. them. Both actually reach the transport location, and there they find the Hylie members. A quick clash happens, but a member named Yokotani forces them out of the place. Before leaving, Hinrai succeeds in hiding a tracking device inside the Hylie base. About 10 minutes after the forced transport, Nobunaga meets with Finks and Phaeton, and they confirm that the Hylie base is in Tier 2. Tagao takes Finks, Phaeton, and Nobunaga to a weird place, a gap between the main tiers of the ship and its hull. There they confirm that the Hylie are disguised as sewage contractors, luring people to the waste treatment area between tiers 4 and 5 to hunt them. On the other side, Morina tells her followers about Hulkenberg's funeral procession. Dogman and Sodom go out to look for the person Morina is interested in, shortly before the funeral soldiers find Lynch's body during a final search. Hinrai meets the Kuro, and one of the Shiyu men tells them Lynch was killed and her body was found. Hinrek and Zakuro reach the possibility that the person who appeared to be Hisoka might just be someone in disguise, and here their problem with the spiders begin. 12 p.m. Hulkenberg's funeral procession begins. The coffin moves from Tier 3 to the morgue in Tier 1, passing through Tier 2 via the central staircase. In the middle of this crowd, Krollo is walking among people using a love dial device to find the perfect partner. For a moment, he thinks about getting revenge on Hisoka right now, but he stops himself and focuses back on his original plan, stealing the 3 Kaken Imperial treasures to evolve the Skill Hunter ability and get a power that can kill Hisoka. Around 1 p.m., Borkson disappears and reappears in the Hylie family hideout facing Marina and her followers. Here the negotiation game begins. I won't go into its many details, but it's important to know the game ends with Borkson joining Marina because she cheated in the game. During the negotiation game, martial law was imposed by Benjamin. Tiers 4 and 5 will stay somewhat normal, but tiers 3, 2, and 1 must follow the army's instructions. Also, the barrier between tiers 2 and 3 is closed. About 40 minutes after the announcement, Benjamin meets Mizai, Botabai, and Kaiser. He asks them to witness that his decision to impose martial law is legal. And so, we're done here. I tried my best to cover all the main stuff without diving into details, cause honestly, if I did, this video would be like 4 or 5 hours long. Hope you guys liked the video, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, cause seriously, no one ever notices me, and that really helped me out.